You see them all the time, right? Scrolling through social media, you come across these online fundraisers. But have you ever stopped to really break one down? Today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to deconstruct a real-world GoFundMe campaign to figure out how it works, what makes it so compelling, and maybe what it says about us. So, yeah, what is the secret sauce here? What are the key ingredients that turn a simple web page into, well, a lifeline for someone? Is it just the story, the way it's presented, or the platform itself? We're going to dig into all of that by looking at one single campaign. And to do that, we are going to dissect a real GoFundMe page that was set up for a woman named Valerie Cross. We're going to treat it almost like a text you'd analyze in a class, looking at its story, its structure, and its strategy to really understand the anatomy of a digital plea. Okay, first things first. Any effective plea for help has to start with a human story, right? Something that creates a connection, a sense of empathy. So let's start right there, with the story of a career that was carefully built and a life that was suddenly and completely interrupted. So right away, the fundraiser establishes Valerie's background. For 26 years, she dedicated herself to one single hotel brand. She worked her way all the way up from the front desk to general manager. I mean, this isn't just a job she had, this was her life's work. And then her sister, who's organizing the campaign, makes a really smart strategic choice. She includes this one key detail. Valerie didn't just work there, she excelled. She once won an award for bringing in the highest revenue in the entire company. This isn't just a random fact. It establishes her as an absolute star performer. And then, boom, the story takes a sharp turn into her current struggle. After she was laid off, she applied to over 800 different jobs. Just think about that number for a second. It does so much work in the story. It quantifies her effort, and it shows you the sheer scale of the wall she's up against. And right here, the core conflict is just laid bare. You've got her past, defined by loyalty, success, being an award winner, and then you've got her present, which is just a nightmare cycle of job scams, constant rejection, and her unemployment benefits running out. This stark contrast is designed to create this powerful sense of injustice. All right, so they've hooked you with the emotional story. Now let's see how this whole thing builds from that story into a crisis you can measure. You know, a story creates empathy, sure, but it's the numbers that really create the urgency. So the initial goal was actually pretty modest, just $2,600 to help cover the basics, like rent. And at the time this page was captured, the community had already kicked in over $1,400, so they were already more than halfway there. But then, the situation got a whole lot worse. The fundraiser's update section, which is a really key feature of the platform, was used to post new information. And it was bad news. Valerie had received a shutoff notice for her electricity. The crisis now had a deadline. And the new number, just to keep the lights on, was $2,800. Now think about that. This single urgent bill was higher than the entire original fundraising goal that was supposed to cover all of her expenses. The pressure just ramped up big time. And this is the detail that changes everything. The update also mentions that Valerie uses a CPAP machine for a medical condition. All of a sudden, electricity isn't just a convenience. It's not just about keeping the lights on. It is essential for her health. The entire plea just got reframed as a medical emergency. So, with the stakes this incredibly high, how do they actually ask for help? This brings us to the language of the appeal itself, and you'll see it's crafted really, really carefully. This phrase right here is the absolute heart of the appeal. She just needs a bridge. That language is so strategic. It frames the donation not as charity for someone who can't cope, but as temporary support, a bridge, for a competent, hardworking person who just needs a little help to get to the other side. And the call to action is twofold, which is key. First, it invites donations of any size, which takes the pressure off. But then it also offers a totally free way to help, just by sharing the page. And it validates that by saying it would mean just as much. This is so smart because it widens the net of who can feel like they're contributing. Okay, so we've got the personal story, the urgent crisis, the carefully crafted ask. But that's only one part of the equation. Now let's talk about the platform itself, because the narrative is only half the battle. The technology is the other half. You know, the GoFundMe platform is basically built with all these features designed to encourage you to give. You've got the progress bar showing how close they are to a tangible goal. The organizer is identified as her sister, which adds credibility. The donor list creates social proof, the update section keeps the story going, and crucially, there's that protection guarantee. And this is that social proof in action. When you land on the page and you see that some anonymous person already gave $500 or that her own sister was the very first person to chip in, it builds trust and momentum. It signals to you that other people have already looked at this and decided it's legitimate, which makes it feel safer for you to join in. And here is the platform's big backstop. The GoFundMe giving guarantee is basically an insurance policy. It's them saying, look, we know it can feel weird to give money to people you don't know online, but we promise your donation will get where it's supposed to go or you'll get a refund. And that is a powerful tool for overcoming that natural hesitation. So when you put all the pieces together, you really see the formula. You have a powerful, empathetic, personal story about a capable person facing an unfair, urgent crisis. And you place it inside this digital framework that is specifically engineered to build trust, create a sense of community, and ultimately drive people to act. Which kind of leaves us with this one big question to think about, doesn't it? Is the rise of all this personal crowdfunding a heartwarming evolution of how communities care for each other in the digital age? Or is the growing need for it, for things like rent and medical bills, actually a sign that our traditional social safety nets just aren't holding up anymore? It's definitely something to think about.